we're going to talk about the next move. What is the next move? What can be done? Women are underrepresented in STEM fields, that's for a fact, starting as early as their school years. We're looking for answers in this upcoming roundtable discussion about what can be done to drive change in gender diversity and inclusion, and what firms can do in this process. Please allow me to introduce our guest, Dana Reizniece-Ozola, who is the current managing director of FIDE,
My pleasure.
The International Chess Federation. She's also a women chess grandmaster. Norbert Fogarasi, managing director of Morgan Stanley's Budapest office, and Gábor Orbán, CEO of Gedeon Richter.
Thank you for
My
inviting.
pleasure. We just had a very interesting roundtable discussion a few minutes ago, but I want to ask your opinion about this. What does chess develop? What are those abilities that will be highlighted thanks to the game?
So I'm a chess player, and even during the most busiest times in my life, while I was a minister or active in other fields, I've always been trying to play chess because I know that keeps a very strong form of those capabilities that chess has taught to me since my childhood. It is, very many, but among those, to be able to see the field, to be able to predict at least few moves, not to forget that you are not the only person in the game. So you can have your best intentions, your best plans, but you have to count on your opponent as well, interfering in those. You learn how to value the time. If you've got the mandate and time, you have to deliver. Otherwise, the clock is ticking, and at the end of the day, it ends. Fair play and the respect to the opponent. So few among very many that I could list here as very vital for the future person as the skill.
Gentlemen?
Dana has said it all. In my view, chess develops strategic thinking. The moves you make now will have an impact down the line, and it's not something that comes naturally to most people. So chess develops that skill for sure. I think it's similar to the idea that psychologist Daniel Kahneman put forward when he talked about slow thinking, the kind of rational reasoning that comes to you when you put away your instincts and your impulses and start thinking slow.
Yeah, I'm also a chess player myself, not as strong as Dana. I'm a candidate master level player.
Not bad.
And I grew up playing chess as well. So I've also picked up a lot that I could use in my career now in business. We already mentioned strategic thinking. You mentioned decision making under time pressure. We face that in the business world all the time, where we have a limited amount of time. We don't have the time to fully calculate the consequences of moves. We see that in chess, but we have to make a pragmatic, good enough decision. That's something that I've picked up from chess that I can apply in my business life. And the third thing, they often say that what differentiates a very strong player from somebody that just started out playing chess and has learned the moves and is starting to calculate is pattern recognition. So somebody that's played the game for years is able to recognize positions much more quickly than a beginner. And I see that in the business world as well. If you've already been in a situation that has come up before, then you're very quick to be able to make a quick snap judgment and recognize the patterns that had appeared before.
Being the founder of the Global Chess Festival, she's been super busy, but Judit Polgár managed to join us now. It's our pleasure to have you. So I will ask you this question, since the others pretty much have covered it already. Why is chess a perfect tool for STEM fields?
Well, I believe chess, the game itself, gives a lot of skills, especially if you can start it already very early, age of 3 or 4. You learn to think in frames. There are a lot of small things in it, and you try to make the puzzle work. So when you're small, you put the small puzzles together, but when you're older and you're adult, you really have to put the puzzles as well. So in the education, what we think that we develop so well is logical thinking, is decision making. The chessboard can be so useful. teaching the kids the diagonals, the rows, the lines, the contrast, the differences, the values of the pieces. And chess is a very difficult game. At the same time, if you pick it apart, every little thing of it, it can be extremely motivational and useful tool for that.
Well, in the business world, the ratio of men and women are perhaps not equal, but all of you will be able to elaborate on that. What is your opinion? What can be done? I'm sure things are improving, so it's an optimistic outlook compared to, say, a few years ago. But how would you describe the situation now?
I'm happy to start on this one. If we look at technology, which is my background, I studied computer science. What we see, European Commission did a study recently, only 1/5 of the people that actually work in the technology sector are women. If we broaden the field to STEM, to include mathematics, engineering, and the sciences, then it's 1/3. So it's still, women are still underrepresented in the more broader definition of this science, technology, engineering, math field. There's no good reason for it other than the social, the upbringing, and what girls are told when they grow up, what the role models that they have in front of them when they grow up. So I think in order to change this, this is what we have to tackle. We have to have role models that they can look up to. We need to have programs that they can join where they can really learn what it's like to take a career within the STEM field. And we at Morgan Stanley, we try to do this. We actually have a number of programs that we run where we try to hold up role models and we try to show in real life to girls, whether it's elementary school or high school, what it's like to actually take a career in this field.
If Dana is the next to reply, I would like to just add to my previous question that FIDE has declared 2022 the year of women in chess. So with that in mind, yes, I will ask the same question.
Getting back to chess, yes, FIDE has announced the year 2022 as the year for women in chess, but I hope that this is only the beginning, that we will follow up with this movement non-stop for the following years as well, because it's so important. A while we know the numbers. Women in chess are underrepresented. Only approximately 11% of the rated players, 3% of the Grandmasters. So they say that it's easier to become a president of the US being a woman than becoming the champion of the world being a woman. But that's my dream. One day the lady will fight for the crown of the world champion. So what we are trying to do, it is first of all to raise the awareness that everybody has to change the mindset to help the women to be there, not only represented, but excelling in the field. And for this, we're trying to do several things. First of all, you know, chess players know that chess is an objective game and you shouldn't be relying only on your intuition. The same goes for the policy making. You shouldn't be, okay, we have some presumptions, why it's so, but you shouldn't be relying only on what you think, why the girls are not there enough. So this year we have tried to start a survey, really asking the girls what the problem is, trying to understand what the reasons are, why they quit chess at the school age. So I hope that some interesting ideas will come out of those, and those will help us to tackle the problems. The second thing, role models. You already mentioned that. I think it's important to have not only the great chess players, as Judit herself, you know, exposing herself to the young girls and motivating them, but also showing that chess world is much more than only the sportive or competitive part. That if you want to stay in the field, you can be a great teacher, you can be a great trainer, arbiter, opinion leader, photographer, manager at the end of the day. So this is something that we try to highlight there. The more women will be there, represented, the bigger chance that some comradeship will be there, and the bigger chance that the young girls would also stay there because they have these role models. And the third one is quotas, still quotas. So we are setting quotas for the arbiters appointed, trainers appointed, management needs to be represented by women. So this is a consistency that also, I believe, will bring better results.
Gábor?
In the company I work for, about 50% of our employees are women in professions that work with us, medical doctors, pharmacists, biologists. It's very common for women to make a career, but in leadership positions, it's not nearly, the ratio is not nearly as high, and we have to work on that. I feel very strongly about this for two reasons. One is that at Gedeon Richter, about half of our time and resources, financial and human, is dedicated to improving the lives of women in whatever stage of life they are in. So we need to make sure that we set an example also in terms of women being represented in leadership positions in our company. The other reason I feel strongly about this is that among my 3 kids, 2 are girls. So I am also personally invested in that. And I think the key to success is going to be psychological safety at the workplace, so that women are comfortable taking risks, women are comfortable speaking up, they're comfortable making mistakes, just like everybody else. And I think that's the way forward, and this is what we are working on to create at Gedeon Richter, and I think we're making good progress there.
At the beginning of today's session, I did ask Judit what it means to have this festival year by year for the past 8 years, but I want to ask you all, what do you think, such a global chess festival, how does it contribute to these issues and problems that we have described?
Yeah, Morgan Stanley is very proud to be sponsoring the chess festival for the 4th consecutive year. And our motto, or the way we work together with Judit, is we want to inspire the next generation of critical thinkers. Whether they are girls or boys, we want to inspire the next generation. Given that our focus is on women at the moment, I'd like to join to Gábor when he said psychological safety. I think it's also, an easier word is maybe inclusion. So it's not just diversity, it's not just about having more women in these fields, in chess, in the sciences, in the business world, and at the top of the business world in leadership positions. It's also about inclusivity and being inclusive, providing an inclusive environment. For example, at Morgan Stanley, we have the Women in Technology group, and that's allowed us that the girls who work for us in these fields, they have a community, they have somebody to turn to. I think the chess festival does something similar. It brings together like-minded people, like-minded children who are into chess, and people say, wow, so I'm not alone. I can actually rely on other people, I can meet others, and we can have more of an inclusive environment in which I can foster my own interests.
I've got an extensive experience in politics, and this has also given me a lesson that sometimes, as important as the message, the messenger is. And sometimes when you, as a politician or a policymaker or an organization, try to convey the message and get it over the table, nobody listens to it or doesn't hear. It goes, passes the ears because you are the wrong messenger. And I believe that with these kind of festivals, with Judit, her festival, her personality and her team, we have found a great messenger, much better than FIDE itself at some point, advocating for how great chess is, how useful it can be for the education, because even if us, as the organization, would say the same, I think the people would quite often even misunderstand that, because the first image that is associated with the international sports organization, it is the sportive part of the of chess, right? And it's not limited to that. We want to expand it. We want to show that chess is so much more than only a pure discipline of chess. And this festival, I believe, is one of the greatest, if not the best in the world, that reaches out to educators, to opinion leaders, to politicians, to chess players themselves, motivating them to look at this beautiful game from different angle and make full use of it for educating our kids, for inspiring them for the next generations. So this is very important for us to have such formats.
A lot has been said. I just want to repeat, or maybe state that Judit and Dana are fantastic role models for everything that we're talking about here. And what I admire them the most for is how they've been able to overcome this false dilemma of professional life versus family. Women are always presented as having to choose between the two, and family is always a drag on their professional life, something that keeps them from self-actualization in their work. For us, it's the opposite. We are grounded in our family, and it's family that gives us energy to do everything in our professional lives. It has to be thought of in that same way for women. And I think for these two women next to me, that is definitely the case.
Well, as long as men do the silent work themselves, that's going to
That's one prerequisite.
generate much better
Indeed.
results. Judit, I want to flip the question. What does it mean to this festival that there are such major sponsors, important companies, important decision makers standing by and supporting you?
I think it was a little similar, my journey with the festival, like my journey in chess. As a girl, when I was winning, people were always sick. They said I was lucky. And it went on and on and on until a certain point they said, okay, it's good. So it's more or less went the same way with the festival. In the beginning, when we started to do the festival, people said, you're crazy, you invest so much energy, what for? Nobody will come, and so on and so forth. And one of my strengths, I think, is that I'm ready to accept small success, move by move. Because if you're ready, you have to start somewhere. And that's how we started out with the festival, to have a smaller event, and it's bigger, and we're expanding. And as a chess player, of course, for 3 decades, I was focused over the board. But during the decades, I also understood that chess is much more. First of all, it gave me a great thinking skills, in decision, in thinking whatever. And after I retired from chess, I know that I think chess way. Like the festival also, it's creative, it's artistic, it's a combination. You have to know and know everything. So some people say also that the festival reflects my chess style. So who doesn't play chess, just I can tell you this. I like the diversity. I like to show that chess can offer really everything. It's a common language between everybody. And when Morgan Stanley stand by to the festival, that was eventually, it's the same to me, like I was winning against, say, guys, they didn't acknowledge my achievement, and finally a big company comes and says, we have the same values, this is what we want to do. You do it on your way, your profession, we'll do it our way. And I think from year to year, we understand each other very well. What are our goals? Our goals is very simple. We are very successful in our own way, but we want to motivate the next generation because we understand and know that sustainability, you have to invest. And this is my story, that I invest my energy and time and my love and my heart into this festival, which is actually a huge celebration, what chess can offer in education, in science, in art, in friendships. And I think the real power of chess it has, whether we have the minister here, the other minister, the president, leaders of big companies, from FIDE leadership, European, and they all, I see that they're smiling, and we all understand that this is something that it's a great celebration, that we can transmit our love for the game and our belief that how we can do better generation in the future.
Well, what I'm taking away with me from this morning's discussion is how important it is to start early, that you have good influences, you have good role models, your confidence is built up. There are so many things from an early age that really contribute to your well-being and to your success and to live a life as full as possible. And now we're here with major representatives of associations and companies, and we talked about really big issues, really big ideas. But I have to ask this at such a wonderful celebratory event. What are some of the exact possibilities? What are some of the exact ideas that you want to pursue and realize?
Yeah, let me begin here again. So at Morgan Stanley, you're quite right. These are big words, and I think we all think the same way. We all have the same direction. Judit is actually doing something by organizing this festival and taking this to the people. We also decided to sponsor a couple of other initiatives that would hopefully help change the situation in terms of women, getting more of them into chess and the sciences. One of them is a program together with Hungarian Women in Sciences Society called Smarties, where we go out and we actually invite high school students onto a program that lasts 4 or 5 months to come into Morgan Stanley, learn about mathematics, learn about programming, and experience what it's like to have a career in this field. Another initiative that we decided to stand behind is the European Girls Mathematical Olympiad, EGMO. This is something that we've sponsored now for more than 5 years. We're sponsoring the Hungarian team onto this Olympiad, and again, the idea is to create role models that other girls can look up to. We also help them organize the competition for the first time in Hungary. So they're very, very concrete initiatives in which, you know, girls that are watching this, that are thinking about learning more about this, can get involved.
Now, we are expanding our programs, I mean, not only within the framework of the Year of the Women in Chess, but in general, as I said, it's very important to extend the borders of the chess world, to go beyond the very nice, elitarian, beautiful, chic, but still very small sportive world of chess. That's how you get to the minds and brains and hearts of the people. If you offer them something that they can understand, even if you're not a professional chess player. So that's why we have launched various social initiatives where we use chess for empowering those that are more vulnerable, and for particularly also putting a special emphasis on the girls. One of my favorite programs that we launched last year was the Chess for Protection, as we call it, but it's Chess for Refugees. So, for example, together with UNHCR in Kakuma camp in Kenya, we've trained already 1,800 young kids over the 1.5 years' time. And we've got a special program for the Girls Chess Academy, where several girls' boarding schools, including Angelina Jolie School, the girls are getting trained in chess. But not only, we organize the meetings with the leaders, we read books with them, we do arts with them, chess being one of the essential elements of building their self-confidence. And when I see how life-changing, how empowering it is, I mean, over the few months, you see that the girls are speaking out, that they take decisions, they behave much more brave, and you know, you see the miracle of chess. So that gives us motivation to expand, not only this program, but others as well. Chess for kids with autistic spectrum disorder, chess for prisoners, for the people who have made a mistake in their life. It's never too late to start going in for chess and use it for understanding the cause and the consequences and the link between those. So, and other programs where we use the educational element of chess for empowering, for giving the skills, for giving the tools in their life so that they become the masters of their life, the masters of the game, not the piece in somebody's hand.
My answer has 2 parts. One has to do with our corporate social responsibility activities, which naturally focus, because of our business focus, very much on women's general well-being. And of course, we come from the health angle, but our objective in every case is to show that health is just a means to an end of quality of life, living a full life, and what that means for women. And we always try to avoid narrowing down the roles of women to one dimension and show the various ways in which women play an important role in society. And we do this not only in Hungary, because we are represented in 50 countries roughly. So in all of those 50 countries, we pursue those campaigns, raise awareness, and discuss the topic from various angles. The other side of the story is our internal efforts to, like I said, improve diversity at the leadership, C-suite, executive board, management levels, different layers of the organization, to include more women, to enable them to create the talent pipeline that will eventually, over time, balance out the ratio between men and women in those roles.
Thank you very much for your insights. And since this morning's session on the women in chess, women in science has come to a close, I would like to ask Judit to say a few parting words.
Well, this was the first time we made such an event at Women in Chess, Women in STEM fields, in science. I'm very happy that we could be possible to make this discussion with very important leaders, two gentlemen. It's very important, I think, that the gentlemen and leaders of companies, they also support and they want to inspire ladies in the company, because I think that's very authentic, and that has to be coming from men also, that they understand. And these two gentlemen, I think they believe and they experience that simply the result at the end, it's going to be better. And of course, men can give a lot of self-confidence to ladies, because I think this is one of the biggest challenges for girls, that they are very easily discouraged. And they have a very big problem how they evaluate themselves. And this is a very big issue. Of course, I believe that parents can do a lot, but also society makes a lot of damage. And this is what I'm doing a lot by giving lectures and motivating parents and kids as well. And I'm going to be continuing with the Judit Polgár Chess Foundation, making progress in the educational field. And whatever I do, I don't like to highlight exactly that it's for girls, because they're already creating a discussion, right? So for example, the chess tournament here, we have 2 tournaments. We don't have girls' prizes, because I want everybody to enjoy the game and get the best you can. And if we just let it go from our thinking, I think already that would give a great push to everybody. So I think with this session, I hope that we could give a little food to our brain to think about, for parents, for decision makers, for whoever watching, that open up their mind that actually, why not? Girls can be just as good in anything as they can. So my message is that girl or boy, get the best you can as a person and forget about the gender.
Well, wonderful closing words. Thank you very much for all of you to take part in this. The Women in Chess, Women in Science session has closed now. I wish you a really informative and entertaining few more hours of this year's festival, and hope to see you again next year. Thank you.